Move your fucking shitbox out of the way.
The following is a special presentation from the Captain Esports Network.
Sammy, if you haven't seen it, the clip is posted in general chat in the treehouse.
I need to look at it.
It was posted yesterday. And for context, when you watch it, the guy doing the yelling is the car behind, obviously. He was in 22nd place, 38 laps down. The guy he was yelling at is in 41st place, 88 laps down.
Welcome to Daytona.
By far the clip of the most exciting thing on that whole race.
So there's your earliest F-bomb in history of this sim or pod, whatever. Anyways,
you can't even edit it because there's like what's that thing you had to do when you were writing papers in English class where you had to like give credit to the author or whatever?
This is true. And what's that? Anybody know that guy's name? Welcome into the podcast. We're already having fun here as it is the Skala cast episode 3 with 3 tired guys and a 4th tired guy because he's raising a newborn and working. That being Matt Telder, coming off a interesting race at the 24. Stephen Miles, he in the treehouse, top 3 finish, got a podium and a certificate that they can put on the refrigerator. 3rd place finish.
By the way, did you hear that they changed the certificates? They're no longer worth dog shit.
What? They used to be worth something?
Well, no, they used to tell you like the car, the split, where you finished, everything. Now it just says special event award.
So a participation trophy.
Mine says participant.
Yeah.
And they say participation trophies don't matter.
For the record, the guy's name is Alexander Wiesigk. Weissigk is his name. Yeah, I don't know.
So is the G silent or is the K silent?
It's either be Weisick or Weisig at that point. So
I got nothing. All right.
But
so credit.
I also have to give him credit though. He had the the best team name in our split though.
Okay.
SRT Caddy Daddies.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Okay. I mean, we saw some pretty interesting names. I was actually very disappointed in our split, the one I was in with Jeremy and those guys. I think we wrecked 3 times before they gave me the card, and I tried to wreck it like twice, and failed. Believe that or not. But either way, hey, our guest, he's the newborn. In case you can't figure out, the newborn dad, and he's not even a guest really. He's the guy that like got me in this whole podcasting thing a couple years ago, and I was like, you know what, the man's done so much to help the re-kick off of the Captain Esports Network. He sends me stuff like every day, including I think he sent me something earlier today. But anyway, Sammy Barnes, new daddy, tall guy. Hello, Sam.
Greetings. I am glad to be back. I'll tell you what, I had to watch all of the different streams and POVs of everyone's Daytonas, and I was just like, this sucks that I am just watching this. So I'm glad that at least I get to participate in one of these things in the pod. I've been enjoying it the past 2 weeks here, and I'm glad that I get my chance at the show.
No, we appreciate you coming on. Of course, you've done a lot of the graphic work that you're seeing, including the ScalaCast logo. That is your work. Obviously, you had the car that was on the GT3 that Miles in the treehouse took to that top 3 finish, which was cool. And you've also did the treehouse logo, which interesting.
We might have to take the window out of the treehouse because it makes it look too much like a cross.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we could do a V2. I did that one pretty quick, but I love that. It's sacrilege, which I feel is appropriate to the treehouse.
Stick some nails through Telder's hands.
Yeah. It just like if you look at it, like even if you look at Discord and look at the like icon for the treehouse, it looks like a cross. So.
In the arms of Jason Clark, fly away to Canada. Oh God! In the arms of Jason Clark.
Speaking of Jason Clark, he could use probably to be in somebody's arms because his head hurts a little bit right now.
He got a meatball on his head.
The man drove a Bobcat into a ditch and then smashed into the front glass, I guess, this morning.
No, that's how he told me. He told me that he was plowing and his plower plowed the ground basically, and it stopped the truck immediately and face plants the window.
I don't need to hear about how Jason's plowing all the time.
Well, hey, I'm just saying. But it's kind of funny you connected two Canadians there with Sarah McLachlan and Clark.
That's what I
That
do.
was funny.
Is it bad that I didn't know Sarah McLachlan was Canadian?
It's okay. I actually, believe it or not, take the man card away. I was nice enough. I took my wife to a Sarah McLachlan and Josh Groban, whatever his name is, Josh Groban concert.
Oh, Josh Groban. Wow. You raised me up. Why did this become a spiritual episode? I feel like you got to lean into the Church of Telder. I feel like there's something there.
I'm more wanting to get you involved in this podcast a lot more.
We'll have to find a way to get my son to be more cooperative. That way I can hold him and I'll use it as my excuses. Like, I'm watching Bennett, and he'll just, we'll have him shriek in the background every now and then.
By the way, on the weird side of things, I'm surprised more married men don't sing that kind of song in the morning when they wake up to their. Never mind. All right, so we digress.
Now you know. Now you know I'm not married.
All right, so we're supposed to be talking racing, and here we are talking Josh Groban and tree houses. So
And Clark's forehead.
And Clark's forehead, by the way, which has a meatball in a 4X. All right, so we're going to talk the Clash. They announced the format, of course, like the hour after we finished the podcast last week. They announced the Clash format. We'll let Sammy and Telder talk a little bit about F1, as apparently there's a rumored Madrid track that's coming into play that might replace Circuit de Catalunya. And were you impressed with that pronunciation?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I always pronounce it wrong, and Daniels always yells at me for it. So I just thought.
Daniel finds things to yell about us all the time. About whatever.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. So.
He's going to yell at me for how I just said that sentence. Anyways, so we'll talk about that. What else I got on my little cheat sheet here in front of me? Let's see. Auto Club short track update. Somebody posted a photo of the Auto Club. I guess it's going to be a short track, and what's left of it from the sky. Found that kind of depressing. And then Pippo Durrani goes and puts the car on the pole for the 24-hour race coming up this weekend, with laps that were actually slower than laps we were running in the actual 24 on iRacing.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready.
I was going to say, maybe our cars need to be BOP'd. Telder, we had
it was
running
2 seconds faster than last year's pole time, though.
That's what I thought. He shattered a record. I mean,
he shattered the track record. He shattered the track record, but
the guy that won overall in the split I was in ran a 31 flat at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Which
go ahead.
I was going to say there's apparently a slight cheese I'm learning about turn one that we caught during the race.
The inside of the inside of the curb there.
Not even the inside of the curve. Apparently, cars were going wide out towards, like where you would go almost towards the exit of the infield and out towards the wall, and then taking like a very wide apex, and it was allowing them to carry all this speed back to turn 2, I guess, into the S there before you get down to the horseshoe.
I felt that though in the GT3 though.
So it was like, interesting. Because, and I admit, there were a couple times when I was in the car, I'm like, man, he's wide. And obviously blow my doors off through the corner. I'm like, holy crap. And that's when we realized, man, there's a little cheese going on here.
You definitely got a run if you did do that, for sure. I did witness that a few times.
Which maybe that's somebody taking advantage of the refresh, maybe? Because, I mean, I know they said it's an oval refresh, but doesn't that work on every corner now?
It should.
Yeah, it could be.
I mean, I'm just throwing that out there too. But we'll get to all that here momentarily. But yeah, we'll talk league racing and things. Miles about won a race Sunday night. And then we got a little team battle for the GLSR championship and more, plus some facts or cap. And we'll talk to Sammy B about what's going on with him and so on and so forth. So let's start with the cup stuff here real quick. We'll get this out of the way. A couple of pieces of news, of course, the Clash for the Coliseum format has changed slightly. I think they moved it down to 23 starters from what I'm seeing here. Of course, last season it turned into a battle royal at the Coliseum as everybody was playing hit the back bumper of the other car in front of you car and see how many you could bowl out of the way to pass. And I think you're going to see a little bit more of that come this year, because I'm starting to wonder if teams are going to take cars out there that they just don't even care if they come back. Now that we're 3 seasons into this next gen car, but
I think you have enough. I think there's enough supply now that it's basically gonna be like taking a car to Daytona or Talladega at this point. Like, you're not planning to bring that car home with you.
It's not coming home. But heat races, let's see, 3 practice groups, all going to get 3 sessions. Fastest lap time in the final practice will determine the starting lineup for heat races. Why not just do a random draw? Kind of makes it fun, doesn't it, Telder? I mean, you're a short track guy.
Oh yeah.
Well, we do a pill draw.
That or some kind of invert. One of the two.
Well, you invert, then you're going to see cup cars tanking practice. Don't do that. That's like back when they did that time where the slowest car qualified.
That's the thing, though, is if you're going to do that, you can't tell what the invert is. So whoever is the fastest practice car, he rolls a dice or 2 dice or whatever. That's your invert. Get one of those like almost like Magic the Gathering dice or something like that. That's got like 18 things on it.
18 sides.
yeah, or 18 sides
yes,
on
the
it.
notorious D18.
Yeah, see, Sammy knows what I'm talking about.
No, it's a D20.
They have D18s too, though, I think. Pretty sure they do.
Maybe it's not common with the usual like kit. You know, usually D20 is pretty standard. No, I sound like a nerd. I am.
I used to play Magic. I'm like outing myself right now by bringing this up even. So clearly I've played before.
See, the only D I know is D12. But they had like one song. Anyways,
you know the DW12.
No, there's that too. I forgot that 12. Yeah. So
D's nuts.
Oh man. So heat racing from there, 25 laps. Looks like it's going to set certain positions per heat race. Obviously, pole for the heat 1, heat 2, second, third, fourth, all the way down, and of course it goes per finishing order in numerical order in all 4 heat races. So basically, if you can count to 4, just count to 4 again, and you get all the way down to 40. Then after that, the last chance qualifier, 1 this year, not 2, 75 laps with 20 cars it looks like, and then the top 2 finishers make it in, and then looks like a provisional potentially for.
If you don't think that last chance qualifier race is going to be an absolute shit fest, think again.
And there's going to be less cars on track now, or like they lowered the car count for the final race, so it's going to be even more hectic.
Well,
which I like that they lowered the car count.
I tried to think of a better term that wasn't shit show to describe that, but that's what that means. That's cluster? What the LCQ race is. No, it's going to be. I mean, I guess we can use Sammy's terminology, but I'm not going to come up with it. I'm not going to come up with anything better than cluster or shit show. So.
So, it goes from there. Of course, that'll be on the 5th of, I think it's the 5th. That's Sunday. I don't even know what today's date is. Is it the 4th?
3rd, 4th, I believe is the date.
Yeah, the 4th of the month, yes, of February. So, there you go. It'll be on, I think it's on Fox.
Well, what's on Saturday? That's the heat races in the LCQ.
Right, that's heat, I think it's the...
Or is it just practice? Is it just practice?
No, it's practice qualifying, because then I think Sunday is the Mexico race and then the Cup race, right?
Well, I think the Mexico race is on Saturday because that's where they're allowing all the fans to come in free. They made the change after they, I guess, botched it kind of.
Okay, yep. So here it is. It's on the format page or whatever. Friday or Saturday is practice qualifying and the heat races. And then Sunday is the last chance race and the actual clash.
And then is the Mexico race before all that then? Because I know that's a part of it that, like, I think that's why they had to do all this, is they added another race to the weekend. It's
probably the Saturday after the heat race, or after the heat races, I would guess, because that's going to be kind of like the main event, I would say, up Saturday, you would think.
You would think. I swore it was on Sunday. I don't know. I gotta look.
I know nothing. You got me looking now. Let's see. Well, we'll let him look. But anyways, that's going to be a while.
Us all while we do research for this unprepared we were.
No, of course not. But then again, it's the no disrespect to the Mexico series, but you would think it would be on this paper. We have it shared with each other of the format, but it says nothing about that race. So anyways, So while Sam goes and looks that up, and we'll get into our other topics here. The Daytona 24, of course, the actual race comes up this week. We've already had one questionable finish on Saturday in one of the series races. I'm still trying to figure out, obviously I don't know the names of the drivers or that kind of thing, but the BMW car that was up against the wall through 3 and 4, it's like, okay, like the only thing I can think of in this race is that this guy decides to maybe try to break the draft on the bottom lane, and the guy just dropped to the bottom, made the pass, and won the race. I got nothing. I don't know how else to explain that.
By the way, I did check it. It is Sunday before the last chance qualifier is the NASCAR Mexico Series.
So they're both on the same day.
Both on the same day.
So it's
they're going to
do
the day before.
Yep. So they're going to run the race. It says 2 p.m. on Sunday for the Mexico Series race, followed after that by the Clash at 5 p.m., which would be the LCQ race.
I don't know if I like that. I think, why not put the Mexico race like on Saturday after the heat races? Let them have their day to put the show on. Then you have all day to get the track prepped and ready for the big race.
This is assuming logic would have been applied to any of this, but this has been proven otherwise.
That's fair.
Because we've already, you already had all the other stuff that's happened with this, event. It's not like this has been really planned out or thought out. So,
hey. You're not wrong. Yeah. Either way, I think it'll be fun. I mean, I'm curious to see what the rubber does, because obviously I'm assuming that I don't know much about the Mexico series, but I assume they run a different tire, probably a bias ply tire, if I had to guess, than a cup tire. So we're actually going to have rubber down on the track for the race, which
they run the same tire that ARCA series does, the General Tires slicks.
Which is General Tires. That's a whole different monster then. So,
and it might be a better race too, with a slower car, a little more. It's not like I don't think they're going to be as structurally tough as the next gen. So there'll at least be more incentive to keep your car in one piece, and the track isn't going to be completely too small for the vehicle on it. So it might be fun. I'll watch it. I'll plan on it.
Should be interesting, yeah. So, it's gonna be interesting. Needless to say, but I'm also looking at the names. It was the driver of the in the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge. Sam, if you've not watched this yet, I suggest you go watch this. But they decided to in the first race, there's a BMW car. And I'm getting the guy's name right now. Yes, I'm totally prepared for all of this today.
You are killing it, my guy.
I'm right. Good host I am.
So while you're looking it up, do we have any bets that the Mexico Series race is better than the Clash race?
There's a big possibility on this one.
I think much better.
Just shows NASCAR even more of what they're doing wrong, potentially. That you bring in a support series and the race is better than the actual one.
Daniel Suarez will be in that race too, so it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, wasn't there? I thought there was him and somebody else was racing in it too. I thought, but
Not sure.
that was something I heard. That was something I heard a while back.
So Luca Mars was the driver of the Ford, who went out there and won the first race on the last lap pass, and he actually ends up winning again on Sunday. So he had Stephen Agakani, I believe is that name, went out and won the prototype class, which was LMP3s, I believe, were out there. So it was like the Roar before, basically cars that were out there running. Mars went and won the GS class, but the first day he goes out and literally makes a last lap pass in race number 1 and is able to win that race again in a move that I think a lot of us are left scratching our heads over, because it's like, again, why do you go against the boards in turn 3 and 4 and allow the car just to drop down? I mean, it's interesting. But something else we should mention, Cody Ware actually made his return to racing in that race, driving a Leger for Rick Ware Racing.
Did as bad as it normally does. Spun it like 3 times, right?
He had a rough one, it looks like. So
You can't see it right now, but my surprised face is on.
Well, he's actually apparently going to run some cup races this year. It looks like again, so won't be full time because Kaz Grala is going to be in the 15 car. They put Justin Haley over in a 51 car, but
as if we needed a more obvious demonstration of the different levels of talent, maybe this will finally be it.
We'll see. I mean, because you saw what happened when you put like a Ryan Newman or something like that, somebody like that in the car. The car actually drove halfway decent.
Yeah, they were just faster back markers at that point.
Right.
One thing I want to talk about with all the pre-build up for the Daytona 24 is that in qualifying at the very start of the GTD classes getting ready to go out on track, they went immediately to a red flag because this Porsche just came out of the pit lane and just spun it right away, just whoop right into the wall. They barely made it out of the pit lane exit, calls a red flag, definitely kind of mixed up qualifying. The driver of that car was a man by the name of David Bruley, who I think does partially sponsor the car, and he is 75 years old.
Yikes!
24-hour race, and he's 75, and he can't make it out of pit lane.
Well, I mean, every series has one of those guys in the lower series. I'm just putting it out there. And by the way, that race number 1, Cody Ware, actually spun on lap 1 in turn 1.
Wow.
Classic.
Once again. my surprise face is coming through.
Nice. Oh man, yeah. So a lot of different things already happening, but we'll talk a little bit here later because I have a little factor caps on which race might actually be the best one when it's all said and done. I think we all might be in agreement when it's over with. It might have to do with a car that starts with an M. So we'll go from there. Auto Club Speedway. Somebody posted a photo this weekend of the track, and you could see where pretty much from turn 1 all the way around to turn 3 and 4 is leveled. It's gone. The track is gone. And pretty much the only thing standing is the grandstands, the front stretch, and pit road. And then the amenity tents and stuff for the buildings there, right there behind pit road. Obviously, according to the iRacing sim, that part of the track together is supposed to make this new Bristol Martinsville hybrid thing. The only problem I see is when you look at the track from that vantage point, you almost have to make a 270 degree turn from the front straightaway onto pit road if pit road's going to be the back straightaway.
Oh wow.
Something here doesn't seem right. So I'm kind of curious.
I know that they had Steve Phelps in an interview, and all he said was, a lot of saying a bunch without saying anything. He was like, NASCAR has renders of the track on iRacing, and they are testing different surfaces, and the design will come online at some point. There is no timeline set. And I mean, we really don't have anything, like not even a drawing, or like it was 3 years ago that they were talking about this. I was looking at videos and I couldn't believe how long ago the excitement for this track was. And there's not even a whiff of anything. And I know that they're adamant that like, no, this track is happening. We're working on it. We're building it. But like, you don't got any, like, I just feel like their design must not work at all. And now they're trying to figure out what they're going to do because they sold the land.
They talked about, I guess one of the main factors in doing this is they do not want pit where the buildings and stuff behind pit wall to be knocked down. Something's got to give here because
the pit road is too. I don't see any, definitive way to do it without either taking down the grandstands or taking down the suites behind pit road.
Either that or you put the backstretch behind the suites, but then you have no point of having front stretch grandstands.
Exactly.
Do it like Abu Dhabi, make the pit lane tunnel underground.
That would be kind of cool. I mean, might have some air issues down there. I'm just going to put that out there. But, what's not about LA and air issues already? Just throwing that out there. I don't know. I find this to be an interesting challenge. I do find it concerning that it seems like NASCAR is kind of not saying anything about this. I mean, when the Atlanta project came out, they came straight out and said, "This is what we're doing."
There just seems like there's way too much uncertainty in what's going on. It's just a bunch of hearsay. All you ever hear constantly is just hearsay, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you see the updates, you see them tearing the track down, you see them ripping the parking lots up, and it's like, all right, yeah, we expected that, but like nobody seems to have a true rendering of what this track is supposed to look like afterwards.
So it makes you wonder. Obviously, they said 2025, so we're about to start 2024 in a couple weeks, which means you have literally a year to get this thing ready. And if you look at the calendar this season, the Auto Club race is pretty much the Iowa race now. When you look at what track lost one, what track got one. Yep. So, hey, Iowa's gain here maybe when it's all over with. And
I think Iowa's gonna be an exceptional race, in my opinion.
Does the 350 laps kind of like seem awkward?
No, that seems
why not
right.
make it a straight up 400 lap race?
It doesn't need to be, in my opinion.
Right.
I guess we'll see when they do it.
Yeah. I mean, I just look at the lap times around Iowa is about the same as Dover.
I mean, laps and distance, and none of that's going to matter until they fix the car to begin with anyway. Fix the tire, fix the horsepower problem, all that. None of that's going to matter, or none of the laps are going to matter, if it's going to be a shit race at that point.
Are you sure, though, with Iowa being progressive banking, that might actually be a difference?
But half the reason, like when you drive iRacing or Iowa and iRacing, what makes it good is you have the multiple grooves. But if you run the bottom too hard, you're losing it off the exit of the corner. It's faster, but you have to be patient with it. With these new cars, that's all you hear is like they can't even break the tires free half the time. So like if you can just run the bottom and not spin the tires, guess where everybody's going to be pretty much at that point. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. I'm hopeful for it because I really like Iowa as a track. I want it to be a good race. Especially because I don't agree with them doing what they did to Auto Club anyway. And I'm a short track guy, and I still don't like it.
Well, without going into details, Mr. Miles, what do you think of Auto Club Speedway?
I mean, when they announced it, man, I really didn't like the decision. I still don't like it. I think they should have just kept it how it was, but I mean, they're gonna do what they want to do.
Even after last night's race, you feel the same?
Yeah, I still feel the same. I mean, the track was real hot last night, but it put on a good show for everybody that was watching it. So yeah.
I had to bring that up last night. We'll get into the Sim 500 talk here in a little bit, but Miles ran Auto Club, and it was pretty exciting. It had me in the booth like, why are they doing this again?
It was very entertaining to watch from a spectator point of view.
So, all right, let's before we get to that, let's get into the 24 hours. We'll cover this and get to the league racing. Of course, three of us, Miles, Telder, and myself, ran in the 24-hour race last night, or this weekend, I should say. Of course, Miles having the best finish with the Treehouse team finishing in third in the race. Now, Telder and I weren't able to run with the team as we had different things going on in that race. Our names were on the car, so technically we finished third. But
yeah,
thanks, Sam, for the paint. The race, though, one thing I that caught me off guard in the whole thing is I was listening to Clark as Miles and I ran the 5 o'clock Friday split. So we had almost 12 to 15 hours to get ready for our splits. And the one thing I heard from Clark is, man, this split seems so clean. Everything seems clean. And of course, I know, Miles, you guys had a little bit of an adventure there at the end with a lap car. But from my vantage point, I felt like I was with a bunch of dive bombers in my split that, either GT3ers that were just driving way over their heads or not being smart, and GTPers sticking cars where they probably shouldn't be sticking cars against GT3s, and vice versa. And Telder obviously had a little drama in his race, which led to the intro that you heard earlier tonight and potentially the line of the year. But Miles, we'll start with you.
That didn't even involve us. We were just driving, and that dude just came over the radio. That had nothing to do with any of us.
You just never know what you can catch. But Miles, obviously,
Luke,
you're third.
Luke did almost crash the car though when that happened because we were all laughing so hard.
Also, it was
about
borderline
it.
Dan Marrera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it borderline was because it was so off guard. It was at like 8 p.m. at night, 13 hours into the race. And we were literally in chat or in Discord discussing what the plan was, who's staying up, who's taking the car next, and who's like going to bed and getting back up earlier. Because we literally did this whole thing with no schedule either.
Ooh.
About right.
We did everything on the fly.
Interesting. And that led to that random line that came out in the race. That's interesting, Telder. You guys, because I've seen both ways. I've seen it to where people have a structured schedule, like Jeremy's team had a structured schedule. Miles, you guys tried to organize it to where you and Dean were up at a time, and then Gagnon and Clark were up at a time, so that somebody was always there and that kind of thing. And obviously, you guys had the best finish of the group, finishing third in class in the GT3s. But talk about your first experience in this race, because I know right now you're tired.
Yeah, my body took a toll from that, man. It was a great experience, man. It was more, I'm not gonna say funner. It was more exciting than I thought. But once you run so many hours at that track, you get the feel of the GTP cars, and you feel like where they're gonna take advantage of you in the corners or on the back stretch, and you figure out where you lose the most time. And it's a chess match, man. It's so much stuff that goes into this type of racing, and so many people play a factor. And I'm just glad we was able to pull it out, man. It was a fun experience, man. I say it was fun.
What you were one that was very skeptical for what was about a week or two. I mean, the one thing you kept mentioning, man, I don't know if I can handle being around multiple speeds of cars.
Yeah, them GTP cars. I mean, you gotta put your trust in other people, and that's hard for me to do on a racetrack. I like to try to keep my luck in my own hands, but um, my team trusted me to qualify the car, and luckily I was able to get it a top 10, and we decided to run it from there instead of running from the pits and being safe. And like everybody was saying, it was a very clean start to it. I think Dean got ran over by a lap car and spun it in the early hours before I got in there, but we was able to make that up. And the fun part was I had the stint where the sun was going down to nighttime, and then my next stint was the sun coming up. So I was there sunrise and sunset. So
Initiation.
yeah, it was crazy, and then I felt how fast the track was around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Everybody busting 44, 45s consistently or whatever, and I just felt the transition through day and night, and it was pretty good, man. It was pretty good.
It's definitely a learning experience. But no, man, congratulations to you guys, and obviously making it there and getting your hey, thanks for showing up award. And
But
obviously,
it was crazy, man, cause I know we all had our schedule lined up, and we were just going off of each other. And Clark had to work in the morning, and
Yeah.
him and Josh did the best through the night since they're on the West Coast, and West Coast time, and Clark's in Canada, so it was the best for them. But in the morning, around about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, Dean took it over, and after that it was me, and I had to run like 4 straight stints. I had to look at. I ran 11 hours.
oof,
I ran 300 and some laps, and I stayed in for the last 3 stints just because we had damage from that little incident, and I was losing on the top end, and I had to push it through the infield just to try to
right.
maintain it. And I mean, luckily we was able to get the third place, man, and that was my first try, and I just thank God for that one, man. Just he did it for me.
That's
But I'm
like
paying the cost now, though.
yeah, oh yeah, it hurts for. I mean, I'm okay today, but yes, like yesterday was a little bit of a struggle for me in the afternoon. But obviously, Telder, you guys, you put in a lot of laps too, like 200 and something.
I did
think you said?
250. I did 250.
Yeah, so I pretty much did nothing compared to you guys. But go ahead.
But yeah, like we were talking about, like how much cleaner this year was than any other previous year. And Sammy will find this interesting because Sammy likes stats and numbers, as we know. So last year in the Daytona 24, we finished P9 in our race with 848 laps completed. This year, we had a much cleaner race. We ran 880 laps, and we were 20 laps down to the leader at the end of the race because of one 14-minute damage incident, right?
Wow.
And one internet disconnection. So 848 to 880 difference in years. 20 laps down. So to put that into perspective, and we finished P12 this year. So P9, 848 laps last year. P12, 880 this year.
Let me ask this: was this the first year for GTP?
No, last year was, or 2
Last
years
year,
ago.
okay. Because I was going to ask, because you had
the,
because obviously the LMP2 was the original.
Yeah. No, this was same car.
Okay.
Same car. And the lap times were within like 0.033 of each other. So they were same lap times. It was just that much cleaner that we did 32 more laps. However, in last year's race, if we would have done either one of those things, 880 laps or 20 laps down, we would have put us P2 in our split. Either one of them would.
Wow.
Last year.
That's
Okay,
crazy.
question
Go ahead.
for all of you, because you all drove, and two of you were in GTPs, one of you in a GT3,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Do you feel like with the track changes that they did night racing, was the temperature difference more dramatic? Do you feel like that night day
Yep.
difference was more pronounced? Okay.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
For to put it into perspective, I ran 161 laps to start the race when it was like as the sun was like going down, and like from 1 p.m. sim time to when the sun was going down, I ran 161 laps. I ran one sub 33 lap in that 161 laps.
I know the story.
I got back in the car when it was dark out later that night. Ran 3 more stints. 3 or 5 more. No, maybe it was 5 more. 5 more. And which equated out to the 250. So I ran another 190 something laps or whatever. I ran like 19 sub 33 laps
You know I'm about to
in
call
those
your ass
2
out.
stints. For what?
You're talking about the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but you're missing the jelly. Put the jelly in there.
What's the jelly?
You partaked in something
Oh,
in
yeah,
between.
Apparently, I just needed to make myself an adult beverage before because that's what
I'm just
I
saying.
I didn't think I was getting back in the car, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a drink and relax, try and go to sleep or whatever. So I was gonna be one of the ones that attempted to get back up early, and then we formulated the plan after I'd already had a couple. So I was like, no, we're just gonna send it, and I got in the zone and ran 32 after 32 after 32 through like almost 3 whole stints or whatever. It was like I was passing cars that like were driving away from me earlier in the day. It was like I feel like I'm moving at this point. Like there was guys that like were like all day long. If I was in the car, that I just let them go because they seemed faster. I drove around more cars in those 2 stints after my couple of beverages than I did in a prior 100 lap or 200 laps of that race.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
but
crazy.
it's kind of different on my end. The nighttime. I mean, I don't know if y'all noticed on the track how much rubber
Oh my
was
gosh.
building up on the outside the groove, and
It
and
definitely noticed more of it this year
yeah,
for sure.
it was a lot, and even like going through it a little bit, you could kind of tell the difference. But our car at nighttime, yeah, you're running fast, but it was so sketchy
It got real
fast.
sketchy. It
Mhm.
did.
And then in the daytime, it was so comfortable, and still it was faster in the daytime than nighttime on my end. I don't know if it was just how the setup was and how we could drive it through the bus stop better, but through the nighttime we was all complaining about where we was missing time or wherever like that. But that's just how mine
I
was.
wonder if that has to do maybe with the temperature of the track and maybe the tires getting up to temp.
I know
Maybe.
it's 65. At nighttime, it started off with the 146s, and eventually you're running 145s through the middle of the run all the
Right.
way to the end. Daytime, you're running 147s, and then towards the middle, you hit 145, 146. It was all about traffic, whatever like that. But I know at 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, when everybody was running their fastest time, it was 64 degrees for
What
those nights.
what hour did you guys get the damage?
We got the damage. We had 2 seconds of damage with Ding. I ran over in the first 4 hours, but hour 21, we had 3 hours
3
left
hours.
when we was coming out the pits, and somebody just wasn't looking. They just door slammed us and knocked us into the guardrail, and we got a minute and 16, and that what really hurt us from even like trying to get to second. It was just trying to get what we could at that point.
I just asked that because you wonder if the damage could have helped you guys somehow with grip or whatever, or just the slower speeds or slower takeoff or whatever, something like that.
The damage helped us through the infield.
Right.
When Dean had the damage of he had a minute 16. Our top end speed was 176, 177. With the damage, was only hitting 168. So when I got into the car, I knew wow. I mean, it was kind of a handful at first. It was able to get 16 seconds off, but when we got to the infield, I was noticing that I could push harder in the infield section now, but I was losing so much on the top end. Unless I was trying to get behind somebody to draft, and that would kind of equalize me in fourth place. So that's one thing I was just like surprised by. Like, okay, well, I got damage in the front end, so now I can drive even harder in the infield, but it's just losing on the drafting part
The top
on the
end.
straights.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and to answer your question, Sam, on my end, I ran my first couple stints were at night, and then obviously the second stints were in the daytime. And some reason that third run, I was kind of having to back off and take it easy because it felt like I was still hitting the same marks that I was hitting before, but the car was sliding a little more, like just not slowing down, or maybe I was getting up in the marbles or whatever. I almost in that third stint put it right in the turn 6 barriers. Thankfully, I stopped about an inch short and was able to kind of turn the car and get it back straightened out. But it took a little bit to adjust to the daytime for me. The nighttime, obviously, I felt comfortable other than when I put it through an invisible fence between turn 1 and 2. In case you're not noticing a pattern here, usually in the first 3 laps, I wrecked, but I kept it off of everything and kept it going. So, but no, on our side, we started on the pole actually with, of course, I'm going to forget his name.
Moody? No, not Moody.
It wasn't Moody. Moody ran a hell of a stint at the end and got us a position, actually. I was starting to get kind of tired, and I threw Moody in. I was like, Moody, why don't you take the car here? Because you were fast and Ryan. Go see if you can catch this guy. And boy, did he. It was Nathan, or it was hang on, let me pull up the sheet here. Nate. You would think I'd remember this, but literally I joined the team at the last second.
Yeah.
So it's like I had to go through and remember. I know we had obviously Jeremy Frere, as you mentioned. He was one of 4 people to actually junk the car at one moment in the race. And oh yeah, Discord's over here. I'm like trying to click on Discord and it's like opening my other screen over here. We had Nathan Nicholson is who put it on the pole. And he goes out on lap 1, gets to turn 1, but then gets to turn 2 and spins the car out and gets T-boned on the first lap. I was like, oof. And then Jacob Thornton, who's in GLSR, he was on the team, did a good job. He daled it in turn 1, NASCAR 1, during his run at one point. Poor guy, felt bad for him. And then Landon Moody, as you mentioned, Justin Norwood, he had the least incident points of the whole group. He ran 4 straight hours overnight. He did like the night shift, if you will. Apparently stays up late at night or whatever, but he got up, came in at 3:45, took over the car and ran all the way to daylight on the East Coast. And so credit to him. And but it was fun. It got to know the group pretty well, and had a couple of people picking on us and talking to us and so on and so forth. But obviously, yeah, that was the 24 hours for all of us. So who's ready to do it again?
Oh, no, man. Next year. You want to know what's crazy about it, though? Second place was Luke Canup, Blaine Sparling, and all them.
Mm-hmm.
And they had suspension damage. We was able to pass them to get our lap back on them, and they was 2 incident points from a black flag.
Wow.
So if they would have hit the grass a couple more times, they would have had to serve that penalty, and I don't know what we would have did. It would have made it interesting at the end, though.
Credit to them for not getting it, because we definitely got ours. As a matter of fact, I did it for us. Got us 100, just went around down pit road.
I think we stopped at 84.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Also, like to give a shout out to Fontaine, Dalton, Joey's son, and Tanyan. They got second in their split. I saw. So
good run for them.
They had a good run too.
All those
So-
old GSLR former and current guys stepping it up in the road race, and I love to see it.
Yeah.
See, you should be proud right now, Sammy.
I am proud, and I'm also like, that's why I was devastated I wasn't there.
You know what the crazy part is you get all these guys from GLSR who are running this race, and yet they don't want to road race in the series.
I mean, stock cars on road courses are.
Yeah, it's different.
Hey, maybe,
That's fun.
maybe,
You guys aren't appreciating just muscling that thing around a track. I love.
maybe it's an
doing it.
idea. Maybe the road races should be GT3 cars.
Or GT3.
It's hard to do GT3 leagues. It really is.
I didn't say a league. I said the road races.
He's saying just
Oh,
take
okay.
when GLSR has a road race,
Right.
just substitute
Yeah,
the Xfinity car for a
We should just
road
do a
car.
different car at every type of track. I mean, then we'll do the dirt race in the midgets, and we'll do the road race in a GT3, and we'll do the super speedway in the 87s and the short tracks. Wait, is this a good idea?
Well, I don't know.
Hey, hold on. Let
me speak
him
for
cook
Daniels.
right now. Let him cook.
Hey, I was just going to speak for Daniels. I'm sure we got to get an IR18 in there somewhere.
Okay,
That could be
fine.
the Indy race. That could be
You do the
Indy
Indy race
race.
at IR8, and then you do, basically just do like a super calendar, pick every best car track combo, and then you have like the champion of champions race type of thing.
So
Wait, this is a
we
good
just
idea.
do the iRacing special events in
In
a.
a 14-week period.
I mean, I think it'd be fun. I'll just
I
keep
would
you on your toes.
I would definitely participate in a league that did that, where there was like this is the iRacing special events league or whatever, where it's like literally you just go down the list and obviously do shorter versions of it, but every car track combo that's on there, why not?
Let's consider.
Now, for the IR18 race, can we all run driven paint schemes?
Oh my god.
I got Nextel.
Oh man! Look, I told him I was going to make it a point. Every episode's getting a driven mention in it somewhere, so I had to make sure I covered my tracks. All right, on to league racing before Peyton Johnson yells at me again. Let's see. Let's start with Miles.
Uh-oh.
Auto Club Speedway last night, Sim 500 puts on a show. As a matter of fact, Miles, you started back like 15th or the 17th, and I mean, it was tough to pass out there. The one thing I did notice about this race, obviously had a good green flag look to it. All the cautions pretty much last night, I don't know if you guys noticed, were from cars that either hit the outside wall or were coming off the top side and hitting the car below them.
Yeah. It was basically like Homestead, bro. It was just like Homestead.
Difference is obviously a little bit more cautions. Track position came into play, and you were pretty much able to run almost any line. The bottom seemed like wasn't the way to go for a little bit. But then at the end of the race, you guys were all on the bottom. It was kind of weird how that worked out.
I think, going into that race, I did my research on the league, and I seen Mojica then was running the last race in February, so I knew I was going to be on the bottom. And that first stint, it was about 3 people on the bottom, and everybody was running like 3 grooves up, but nobody was touching the wall or 2 grooves off the wall. Nobody went up that high. And I think when I was passing some people and some people noticing that, hey, like they're burning that stuff up more. So after that first caution, some people started to get to that bottom and trying to, learn how to run it. And some other people like me and Kevin Brown and Coleman and those guys, I mean, we already been down there, so it was kind of easy to get through them. But it was a lot of strategy too.
You did. Yeah, there was a caution at lap 39. There were 3 cautions in the race. There was one at about lap 20, and then there was 2. One at lap 39, the other one at 48. Lap 39, Miles, you guys stay out. You and Coleman and those guys stay out. We go a little bit, and then you get the caution at 48. You guys come back to pit road. And at that point, you put tires on. Most of you guys did, I believe. And you guys are able to roar back up through the field, and then comes lap 70, and then the pit stop cycle. I know you pitted at 70. Kevin DeBrown pits 2 laps later. You had Coleman and McMillan, who finished 3rd and 4th. They pit way back here at 79. And we had a race from there on where there was no telling who was going to win. I mean, because it was like you had you and Kevin DeBrown, you led by about 3 seconds, which I think might have been the biggest lead anybody had all night. And then Kevin hawks you down, passes you. And then you got all of these guys coming from the back that pitted at 79. They're making their way through the field. But obviously they ran out of time, and you fell up a little bit short with Kevin getting the win in the race. But I know there were a couple drivers I talked to after the race that you definitely caught their mind, Miles. They're like, man, that 24 was fast. That 24,
See,
he's pretty good.
that's what I'm not trying to do that. I'm
I
trying to
know,
just
but
sit back and just try to ride. But let me tell you how the race went in my eyes, man. How it went. It was so hard to pass. Track position was so important. So I mean, you have to save and wait for a caution or wait for opportunity to try to capitalize on it. And I felt like staying out with 10 to 12 laps on my tires. I mean, we got 3 sets. We just used one. I mean, we have what, like 70, 60 laps to go. I only can make it 43 laps on fuel. So a caution anytime around there and you don't have a set of tires, you're a sitting duck. So I was trying to put myself on a different scale, and when we stayed out, I believe I saved my tires, and I mean when we were on the green flag, I only dropped to like 6, and it was so many cars that did take fresh tires. It was surprising I was staying right there, and when we came in and got those tires that had like 7 laps, we just flew through the field. We could pick any lane we wanted to, and I got to the lead and we swapped it, did a little dive bombs and close calls, almost wrecking each other. But it was fun, exciting, close racing. And when I was sitting there in third, I didn't even know Kevin and Coleman was teammates. I was wondering why he was drafting with him, and it was basically like, why even fighting to burn my stuff up if he's just gonna draft with him? So I just tucked behind him, and in my head, I'm like, I seen cars pitting early, so that's gonna space out the whole pack. Less draft, less caution. So how the last race went, they went green for the last 30, 40 laps, and they short pitted in. So I knew when I looked behind me, I'm like, this is a good opportunity to try to catch them off guard. And I pitted, and Kevin Brown didn't pit 2 laps. He pitted the next lap. He came in the very next lap.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
I think in my head, what could I have done different? Instead of trying to save and try to see by the time he get to me if the tires will level out and it'll be hard for him to pass me, I think I should have just ran it harder. I think I should just try to run it and keep that distance, made him race harder and burn his stuff up. So when he would have got to me or someone would have got to him before he got to me, however that would have went. But he basically he still outdrove me. He a better driver at that track, and they know how that track temp is, and I have to get used to that. And I just I'm blessed to be around them, man, to be around some competition like that. I ain't know it was so many 6K, 5K guys in that dang on
I warned him.
league. And I'm sitting on racing 17, 16, and I'm running 3 tenths faster than the leader, but I can't even pass 16 because it's just so hard.
Right.
But yeah, that was my race, man. I'm blessed, man.
The part that I talked to Tyler Dalton a little bit after the race and a couple others, and Dalton had his own adventure. He starts on the pole and then kind of gets contact with Campbell and heads into the grass and falls back to 29th. And during the race, I'm looking back there, I'm like, man, he still hasn't moved up. Man, he still hasn't moved
Yeah,
up. I
he was
wonder if he's had.
behind. He was behind me, and I was literally seeing like how hard it was for him, and he was up front. So that's what put it in my mindset.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's track position, but I was trying to keep him behind me. I was trying to keep it like if anybody was gonna get to the front first, it was gonna be me. But
Yeah,
I learned.
that's all you could do. But no, Kevin DeBrown won the race. Miles second. Um, yeah, Coleman, McMillan, and Kelly, your top 5. Now, the other thing I caught in that conversation with Tyler and them is you either pitted early in that stint or you pit late. You don't pit in the middle. Like, don't pit lap 75 because those are the guys you really never heard from at the end of the race. It was either you guys who pitted early that finished, 1-2, and then you have Coleman, McMillan, and Kelly. Those guys pitted all late in the race. Scott Simley, they pitted at like lap 78 to 80. Tyler Dalton's the first one that pitted in the middle section at 75, finished 7th.
Well, yeah,
So,
Coleman was catching me. Um, he was catching me, but he wasn't catching me that much. So I guess the tires kind of even out right then. But the thing I would change, I would pit with the leader.
I got you.
Just
And
be
you
on
hit
the
the.
same.
Did
Oh,
you
go
hit the
ahead.
wall? Did you hit the wall with 3 to go? 2 to go?
No, I slid my right rear fender on it.
Okay.
You know, I straightened myself out. I ain't hit the wall though.
Okay. I thought I saw that in the broadcast, but yeah.
Alpin in my head telling me to Larson line it,
Oh,
Larson line
Jesus.
it, and I'm telling him, bro, I know the outside is not gonna work, and when I did it, it really it wouldn't work, it wouldn't turn, so I lost more ground. So that's right then I just was like, settle in, just take this good finish, cause that Daytona finish hurt me, but ever since then, that 10th at Homestead, second here, now it's just trying to get that consecutive top 10s, cause it's a long season.
Tell him to go take 2 tires or something.
Yeah, I
Anyways,
know.
or short pit so that a caution comes out later.
He's gonna go pit after the competition caution at Red Bull again.
Yeah.
Oh, he put himself in a box this weekend, Wednesday night, which is transitioning to GLSR Wednesday night. Obviously, we're at Gateway, which, like you guys predicted when we did the Faxer Cap, turned into a pretty mild race, but a lot of that, I hate to say it, you had 17 cars take the green flag. So you saw a lot of green flag racing. Alfin started up front, and as you mentioned him, and Jason Dalton was up there, a couple of the KJD cars, and I think I haven't really had a chance to talk to Alfin about it, but just speaking my opinion here, you get to lap 25, and Dalton and others start passing him for position, taking the lead. I think it was Joey or Fontaine. One of them moved to second, and he fell back, and he was falling back to like 5th or 6th or 7th. And all of a sudden he dives to pit road. And this is pretty early. I want to say lap 28, 29, if I remember, in the race.
Yeah.
And my first thought in my head is he's panicking.
Yeah.
Because he's losing all this track position right now.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't panicking. He mentioned it. He was like, dang, like these guys are fast and I'm losing ground to them. And he feels when he does that, he needs to do something different. And instead of just waiting, being patient, seeing how stuff plays out, he wants Fatback McSwain be telling him stuff in his ear, and he believes it. And I told him last time, he got you wrong last time, the last 2 times actually, at Indy and another place I forgot, but he kind of panicked. But after that, man, it was just like I felt bad because I wasn't trying to race at all. I was just riding.
We noticed.
That was a race where I just felt like it's all about Alfin. If I could do anything, I could. I even tried to save fuel and try to see if I could stretch to the end, but I was just riding around, just I don't know, just resting really.
As Alfin pits, and it kind of opened the door when that happened because the caution comes out like 5 laps later.
Yeah.
and there's that joke with Alfin again.
And that's why he get mad because it's been this week actually, like the last 2 weeks, every time he has pitted, a caution has came out 5 or 10 laps later, and it really messes up his strategy. But at the same time, I be telling him, why keep doing it if it keep messing up?
Yeah, but eventually, what is it? You do one occurrence more than once or something like that, and it keeps going wrong. Isn't it called insanity or something like that? I forget what the quote is exactly.
Or denial, whichever one you want to say.
Could be that, yeah. That could be it.
Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Well,
so I'm just putting it out there.
I am smart.
Go get yourself a lollipop from the refrigerator.
Who keeps lollipops in the refrigerator?
I was wondering if you'd catch that. All right, so I seriously was like, man, I just totally threw that one out there for him. So Fontaine wins the race, but the drama turns into what turns into a KJD2 dominant race. They literally had checkmate on the field by it was a 130 lap race by lap 90. And what I mean by that is they had Fontaine, Dalton, Brian Sutphin all racing for the win. And in green flag pit stops, Joey Ladisor stays out and is trying to catch the caution. So pretty much if he gets the caution, he likely wins the race. If the caution doesn't come out, one of the other 3 win the race.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how it worked out. No caution ended up happening. So Ladisor finishes 11th in the race. The only interesting part of this battle was with 2 laps to go, Brian Sutphin catches the apron down in 3 and 4 and about wipes them all out.
It was an incredible save he had on that, though. I couldn't believe he
Yes.
actually didn't. Like, I was waiting for him to snap back, how far he had to counter to catch it. Like, you thought it was going like, okay, you went all the way. You're going to get all that grip in the front tires and then whoop, go right back up. And somehow he didn't. I was blown away when he didn't completely wipe them all out.
We had a camera on Dalton's door as we saw Sutphin get loose, and I'm like, oh, this might hurt. And he saved it, and it was like, all right, cool. But it's funny because the next day, of course, I'm Thursday morning quarterback and races on a Wednesday night. And the thought crossed my mind that I put in the Treehouse Discord that day. How big is the pass by Alex Bryson on Dalton at Dover?
Oh, it was big. It was huge.
This is, I mean, it's even bigger now than it was because, hypothetically, Dalton wins that race. You've already got Fontaine, you've got Dalton, and of course Miles from the race at Texas. You've got 2 KGD2 cars up there. During this race on Wednesday, there's a third KGD2 car in Brian Sutphin, who, if he wins this race, might be the biggest, probably playoff upset in his league's history.
Yeah.
Would have been the third KGD2 car in, and then there's no Bryson. So it's literally Miles versus one team. Not that I've not seen that before. See season 4 with Blaine Sparling.
And he won that year.
Exactly, against the whole entire PPM squad, which, by the way, they were in the race too, I believe. Was it the weren't they in somebody split?
Yeah, they were in the Treehouse.
Miles is split. That's right. Yeah, the whole PPM squad. So anyways, back to where I was going here. So because of Fontaine winning the race, he was already in. It put Jason Dalton in as the 4th driver. And of course, that led to fireworks. Peyton Johnson was not too happy with thank you.
Luke Strayer.
I thought you said Frere. I'm like, wait, Jeremy wasn't in the race.
Nah, Lucas Strayer.
Yes. They kind of got at it again like they did at the previous race at Dover, and Peyton kind of went after Lucas saying, hey, because of you, I had no chance at the championship, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And
he did miss by 3 points, and I mean, he had 1x or a 4x or something, so that took away 3 points then.
Well, you could say that all he wants to, but Jason Dalton had 5 bonus points that night, Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So you could say that all you want to. I mean, it's only a bonus point for having. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 3 for not having incident points, so it's still a 2-point advantage for Dalton. Plus, he already had.
And they said the damage hurt his car, so he couldn't be able to fight off Diego, which he lost a position to, and whatever else. But till next year, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, the example makes perfect sense. I have no problem with him being mad about it and stuff. But unfortunately, the way it worked out in the end, it didn't matter because Dalton led 60 laps, led the most laps, got all the bonus points he could have, and got the 4th spot. So basically, it becomes KJD2 versus Laser Racing for the championship. 2 versus 2. Sam Telder, we're gonna bring you in on this one. Obviously, Miles, you're in this, so we kind of can't let you. But what do you guys think here? Because this is, I mean, you've got 2 of the top teams in this league that have been 2 of the top teams consistently for like the last few seasons.
Yeah.
Now, you do toss my name in there as a discussion, but I think I do partially have bias. I know I didn't get to run a ton this year, but I think people sometimes forget that I am in the KJD2 system now.
Yeah.
So I know I haven't been around a ton this season just by circumstance. But I will admit there's some bias there, so I'm just going to throw that out in front. Obviously, I'm rooting for my teammates. I want Fontaine to do well. I want Dalton to do well. They've both done great jobs this season. So obviously there's a little bit of bias in there. But I think it's going to be a thrill. I think between Miles and Fontaine have been the 2 most dominant drivers this season of just raw speed. They get up there, they're gone. And I think with Bryson and Dalton, you've got 2 of the most under the radar drivers this season who could really explode onto the scene and win. So the four of them, this might be one of the most evenly matched Final Fours I can remember in a while, where there was no one driver where I'm like, oh, it's obviously them. I think Miles has momentum. I think he's hot right now. I just feel like anything he's touching behind the wheels looking really good. So my mind says, I want the KJ2 drivers to win. Got to say that first. But I think my mind says Miles, but my heart says Dalton. I think he's been so good all year, and just, I don't want to say nothing to show for it because that's not fair, but he's been just in the mix all the time. Like, he was in the mix at Gateway. It didn't, come to fruition in the end. He was in the mix at Dover, and that was just an insane finish at the end. Like, he's doing good. And he's just firing on all cylinders this season. Like, I know if you were to mention the Chicago street race, people would say, oh, Sam did really well. Myself, Sammy B, not Fontaine Sam. But you know who helped me break through that ceiling? It was Dalton. The night before, I had been doing tons of laps and I just wasn't getting it. And Dalton was faster than me by a lot. And he's like, take me through your lap, drive me around. And he talked me through the lap. I adjusted my line to his. Then you saw. That was Dalton. It was on that he had a really poor qualifying, and then the race just didn't go his way. But like, my heart says I think this is Dalton's year.
Miles, I gotta let you rebuttal, I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's a good analyst. That's a good little way you can think about it. I just know after last 2 seasons winning 3-4 races, last season winning regular season champion, being dominant and not making the Final Four the last 2 seasons. I mean, I'm blessed to make it this far. And after knowing Homestead race last season, which I didn't run after frustration, Dalton and Bryson was what, 8th, 9th, and I think they ended up wrecking each other, taking each other out, or something happened like right there. And Fontaine was the class of the field with Strayer, and I think he could have won that race, but he decided to finish second because Alex Cummins had a little damage and he couldn't catch him. So I know Fontaine's gonna be strong at this track. This is one of my least favorite tracks. I don't have, I mean, just like I told you weeks ago in NASCAR video games, it was just this track, Phoenix. It's just tracks I just couldn't figure out how to run it. And luckily I ran the race a couple weeks ago at Homestead at 138. And then I hopped in the practice session at 100, and it feels like I'm driving on Sunday morning. So it's gonna be a close battle. It's gonna be between me and Fontaine. It's gonna be between our team against their team. If Bryson's in front of me and he has a shot, I wouldn't second guess it. I'll let my boy win it. If they up front, we're gonna try our best to not let them win it, bro. Cause Fontaine won the championship last season, and I believe I was supposed to win it. And I mean, I believe I'm supposed to win it this year. So we're gonna see.
So Telder, I'm going to bring you in here on this one.
I don't want to be in the middle of this.
Hey, both had compelling points, but the one that comes to my mind is when you have a 2v2, basically, if you will, speaking soccer terms here, you get the team elements coming into play. Obviously, Laser Racing has Brandon Alford. KJD2 has a pretty good amount of people.
Yeah, like when it's a 2v2 race like this, like obviously Miles is an exceptionally good driver. It's no secret how good Fontaine is as well. Dalton is another great driver. Like I've been impressed with watching him improve on the bigger tracks because he was a short track world guy. Yep. With us.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing him do that, but then it's like you got Alphen, who's just an all around great driver. Bryson is, surprisingly good too, because I didn't really know him too well. He's got, like, everybody involved in these two teams have an exceptional amount of talent on them. Look at, Dean could literally pull a win off here. He likes these old tracks.
Yeah.
Dean used to be every time we would go to, like, it was Homestead and Rockingham when he was on DUR. I always felt great. I'm like, Dean's a lock. He's gonna win. He has a killer sense. So we'll see. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great match between these two teams.
Of course, my favorite story of all time of Homestead and GLSR would be the week I had my wisdom teeth pulled. I couldn't broadcast a race because I could barely talk. But there I sat in the DUR chat with Barnes. And what was it, once or twice during that race, a caution come out and you were still on the track during green flag pit stops?
I think
And
it
I
was
kept
twice.
encouraging you. I'm like, stay out, stay out, stay out. Let your tank run out. Let the tank run out. I was literally spotting for Sam. Random story. We'll see what happens Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. And we'll see who wins the championship. I'm going to try to get the champion on next week, unless it's Miles and he's already on. But we'll get the champion on, maybe hack on him a little bit or something, or congratulate him, whatever we got to do. Something I would like to do, maybe get the champion on each week or something when that league runs out or whatever. All right, so iRacing made some changes this week and put a little more fuel in the car, took away a set of tires. And, well, needless to say, Lewis, the owner of the league, is he was walking with a strut, if you will, at the end of the week. Casey Carrington wins at Kansas. And then, of course, Thursday night's race at Michigan, the faster pastor Stoney Benfield wins. Miles, we won't bring that up again. And Miles was involved in an accident on the backstretch on the final lap. But the strategy, obviously, a little bit more fuel. The tires obviously taking a set away. It seemed like the strategy really came into play of like when to take tires, when to pit, those kind of things. I mean, we had Aaron Beaver Tuesday about win the Kansas race, and I had no clue that until about 10 laps to go. I'm like, man, this guy's actually good on fuel. Is he about to win this race? I had no clue where he came from.
32 lap time, 32-second lap times. He was able to save that much fuel, 5 laps.
Right?
That's dedication. That's practice right there.
I mean, it was crazy. But obviously, Miles, you're up there at the top of the points after Kansas in the Cup car. You and Carrington right up there where you guys were last season. And obviously, you got
I'm supposed to win that one too.
Carrington pulled the 2 tires out on you guys.
Yeah, he pulled. Well, he took the set of tires. And
I'm sorry. He did fuel only. I'm sorry. He did fuel only.
He took the 4 tires and took just fuel on the last stop when we decided not to take tires, to take the 4 tires with 15 to go, and just wasn't able to run them down in time. And then I finished 4th, and Faster Pastor got me on the backstretch when I was leading on the last lap, passed me, and I got a bump from behind that moved me to the inside, and I got left hooked all the way to the inside wall.
So I didn't see the bump in the back. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was Stringle. Stringle bumped me, trying to give me a little bump, and I was just trying to size him up for the last turn, and Craig Moore was right there on my inside, and it just left hooked me. I don't know if it was net code or not, but it was a good race and a good win for the Faster Pastor.
Now, what shocked me on that restart, because it was a green-white checker, is he made the pass for second. And I forget who is off the top of my head who he passed for second.
Stringle.
Was it Stringle? He cleared him, and it was like his truck was shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, straight draft, straight run. That's the one place, just like the restricted player race, that's the one place you don't want to be, is leading on the last lap at Michigan or Auto Club or anywhere when you drafting like this. The only thing I could have did was get behind him, draft him, and do them the same way, but we didn't make it that far.
Yeah, unfortunate for you there, but still, I think it was 2 great races. I mean,
It's a good season. I believe it's gonna be 2 good seasons.
Okay, hearing that for like I didn't hear anything from drivers this week. I haven't heard anything from Lewis, so I'm guessing no news is good news. So
it's just gonna be crazy, just like with Casey's situation. Like with him taking those tires, if it was 1 caution anytime after that,
he's done.
He's done. So it's like, are you going to take the risk, or are you going to be safe and just finish 4th like I did?
Interesting. So Nashville Tuesday night for the Cup cars, for the Gen 4 cars. So that'd be an interesting combo to watch there. And then the trucks are at Talladega for their Super Speedway race number 3. So that should be a fun one there. And then also next week, I'm looking at potentially having Casey Carrington also on the show, because All-American's going to kick off the following Friday on the 2nd at Daytona. They're actually doing their Clash test thingy this coming week. We'll probably stream that Friday night. So I
That's
think it's
gonna
like
be a good one.
40 lap race or something like that at Daytona. So should be fun. All right. So league racing covered, 24 hours covered. Let's get into our fun segment here, facts or cap, and then we'll probably roast Sam or something to wrap up the show.
Don't worry, I didn't do any league racing last week. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, I didn't write you on the notes, did I? I knew I forgot something.
I didn't do jack squat. I had a second and a fourth in the twin 50s and the modifieds, and that's literally all I did last week. So
well, still though, you can talk
Still a
about it.
good
I mean,
run, yeah.
that's consistent. It's good runs because I mean, there's an invert in there too.
yeah, the first race I literally spun out in qualifying, so I literally was like front row challenge. Fuck it. Drove up to second. Had a wreck because that league does if you claim your penalty, take an EOL, go to the back. Right. If nobody claims it, they review it afterwards. And if you were determined at fault, and you didn't take an EOL in the race, you go to the end of the lead lap to finish, and you have an EOL to start the next week.
Dang, double whammy.
It keeps people responsible. So it's so I had one where I was like, I wasn't sure if it was me or not me. So I was like, regardless, take the EOL. I'm just gonna take it now. I go to the back. We're on lap 15 of 50 at this point in the first race.
What track?
It was at the Bull Ring at Vegas.
Oof.
In the Tour Modifieds. So you know how much power those things make.
Bottom feeders.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, so did that. Drove back. I drove through the field like 2 or 3 times. I got spun out. Went to the back again second time in the first race. Finished second in the first race. And then... fourth in the first race. And then... So after the invert, I think I started 5th or 6th, something like that. Got to second place and literally hung out in second place for 44 straight laps. Just didn't have enough to get around the guy in front, and I wasn't gonna wreck him to do it. So
that would have been awkward.
So 4th and 2nd, and then I didn't run Monday night because I was still messing with my Twitch channel, as you know.
Yeah, he finally finished his Twitch channel. I think the day of the 24, by the way, for him.
Yeah, because I stayed up way too late. Because we started the 7 a.m. split Saturday. At 2:30, I was still sitting in my rig with my laptop connected to it, fixing audio problems. So, but please, you can admit you saw it. It looks good.
It does look good. I give him credit.
Multiple camera views,
including the foot cam, which I found interesting. What did I say about your foot cam? I had a joke or something in there.
I don't know. Clark made some joke about getting free feet finder pics, but I was like, I'm wearing my fucking racing shoes. So,
real quickly for those who don't know that, back to the back to front challenge that Telder was talking about, where you start to back, you literally pay up a certain amount of money and they move you to the back of the field, and if you can get through the field and win the race, you get like a certain percentage or a purse or something like that out of it.
Usually there's a bonus in addition to, like, if the race pays $5,000 to win, they'll do like a $2,000 front row challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you go to the back, you win the race, you get an extra $2,000 on top of the prize purse for it.
Yeah, you get a lot of that at like local short tracks, for those who don't know. So interesting. But good for you, man. Good runs there. And I got to make sure I put on notes. Telder's League Racing. I usually do. Anyways, all right, let's hit facts or cap, as I said. Figure the first one here. Let's start with the Clash. Let's go back to it. This is the 3rd year now we're going to California, which means a lot of teams are spending a boatload of money to get their cars to California. And this year you're going to have, 17 cars not make the race? As a matter of fact, the last 2 seasons, both RFK cars have not made the race. But think of the money you're losing when this happens. So with that said, this is the last year of the Clash at this Coliseum, at the LA Coliseum.
I think so. Fucking facts.
Factual
statement.
I'm saying cap. I am saying big cap.
Whoa!
I think that's the last time, bro. It get played out 3 times.
Okay, no.
I want to hear Sam
just like the dirt race.
Just because I don't think it worked doesn't mean they're not going to do it. Here is why. They have to have something in Los Angeles. NASCAR is not giving up on LA. They have anything good going on at Auto Club. They have to pull the emergency cord. They cannot leave the Coliseum. It's. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying that I mean, I think it's fine. I think at best the Clash at the Coliseum is fine. But there's what's the other? You talk about teams spending a lot of money to drive out to California. Okay, we go back to Daytona. What are they going to do? They're going to rip up more cars. That's all the Clash was at Daytona anyway. I think.
I'm thinking from a traveling standpoint.
Well, they're good. Okay, yeah, traveling standpoint, but like it's not like Daytona is a cheap option. Because how do people race at plate races? You're going, granted, NASCAR loves more plate races. I'm surprised that, I mean, Daytona's probably what they're going to do, but it's just they're going to rip up a lot more cars again. So really, does that save teams money? If money's the concern, does Daytona do anything good for them? No. I think there's a bit of a NASCAR wants to. There's two ideas I have because they should listen to me. NASCAR wants to go international. They're having the Mexico Series lead them in. They want to test the waters, and then next year they're going to go to the Stadio Olimpico in Mexico City and build a track inside the Olympic Stadium that's down there. Or, you know what? Screw it. If we're just going to blow money and not care what it does to teams, send them all down to Australia. It's beautiful weather. You can race on a cricket field because those are the biggest fields I've ever seen in the world. Or if you want to do something that's actually true to NASCAR, historically has a tie-in, what do they do a lot in winter before the Clash? They went and did a road course in California. I think they need to go to Willow Springs.
All right, this is where the truck on a chili bowl thing is coming into play for Sam here.
Go to Willow Springs. If you can spend all this money building a racetrack, take a quarter of that budget, build some stages, have some music festivals on, get someone better than MGK. He's fine. But like, like whatever. Like, go all out, have a festival in the desert. It's the Riverside Revival. And we're going to race around Willow Springs on a real racetrack and do what we've been doing in NASCAR with the Motor Trend 500 that they would always do in February and January. Guys, we're doing what they used to do back in the day. I thought that's what you wanted. Go out and race in road courses in California. You're welcome.
For those who don't know, NASCAR used to start at Riverside in the 80s. So fair point.
So that was going to be my point to when Sammy says they need something out there like the LA market. Why not run Long Beach?
I thought about that. Is it built in time? Because when does Formula Drift and IndyCar use it? Because like Long Beach would definitely be. I would love Long Beach. That's in California, but is it?
But what if you don't have the Clash? Just don't have the Clash anymore, and just move.
I'm going to tell you
Long Beach race into the schedule.
I'm going to tell you this right now. In order for a Cup race to happen at Long Beach, you'll probably have to take out Turn 11.
Nah,
there is no way those cars are going into Turn 11.
Pile them up. Let's go.
I would almost say they would almost have to take out that wall that's right there in where they go through Turn 9 and then the left-hander sweep before 11. They would almost have to go straight there and turn 90-degree right.
Do it Monaco F1 style where they run a special rack and pinion steering rack only for that one track that'll make the wheels go even tighter. Because I know in F1...
They're still trying to figure out this rack and pinion.
Whatever.
That's a valid argument. I can see it. I can see Cup running there if they took out the left-hander sweep.
Yeah,
I think Willow Springs would be cool.
Yeah.
Again, it's never going to happen. I don't know. They're going to either keep going to the Clash or they're going to go to Daytona.
Going off of what you just said, Sam, let me throw these out there. There are 2 other racetracks in the area that you could go to that are actual racetracks and run the Clash.
Yeah. Isn't Kern County?
Kern County, Kevin Harvick's track, and then you got you still got Irwindale is still there.
Do the figure 8, then I'll like it. If we're gonna wreck these cars, let's wreck these cars.
In a sport that safety is the number one thing, you want to put them on a figure 8
with the jump. We're doing the GSLR style. All right, you got to get me into the next thing. I'm going to derail.
So Sam is already. Hey, Miles. So what do you think?
I was just gonna let him cook. So
Yeah, let him cook, man.
All
This
right,
is
so
why, and this is why, like when someone elderly, they say, oh, you can't drive anymore. They took the keys away from JSLR from me.
did they though? Because
No, I went away. I went away. I'm joking.
Hey, no, I'm going back and looking at the where's the specials, the special race coming up here, the series in the winter time here.
Oh yeah, my
Where's
little
this?
GSLR silly season. We're doing.
Where's your schedule at here? I can't find it. Where'd you put it?
It would be in. I'm just gonna pull it up on my phone. I can't find it. I need to repost it. No, I did do a little bit of a nostalgic silly season. I got approval.
Yeah, I think he's got us running like the Spec Racers at Talladega or something like that. I think it's on the schedule. But anyways, while he looks real quickly, Telder, I guess you're the one that can. Well, Miles can answer this. Factor Cap's a champion for GLSR. Will have to win at Homestead to clinch.
Cap.
Okay.
Facts.
I might say facts too, only because I think you've got two of the best drivers in Fontaine and Steven that have been the two top drivers. Dalton's been getting better on the. He's been good on the worn out surfaces. He season 6 at Chicago when Alphen won the championship. He won that race, worn out surface. And then Bryson, obviously, I would almost argue is an underrated driver in that series. Could get up there and compete, I think, in Homestead. But to fairness to the Cap part, there are lots of drivers that could go out there and win in Homestead.
I'm thinking of a couple off top. We know how good Luke Strayer is there.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
We know how good Dean is there.
Dean's not running.
I just don't.
Is he not running?
He's not running.
Okay, well, he's not running. But there's other people in that league that are quick at Homestead that like that track.
I've got the silly season here. It's next week. We have Rush Hour, which is Spec Ford Racers at LA Coliseum. Week after that is Suzuka Thunder, Gen 4 Cups at Suzuki East. Week after that, GT3 turns. That's GT3 cars at Pocono. Soapbox Derby is Formula V's at Bristol. And then Speed Week is COT cars at Daytona. There you go.
So go-karts at the Coliseum.
Yep.
The GT3s at Pocono might be interesting.
That could be. That really could be.
That could be interesting. The way the draft is in those cars.
Dude, actually, like when week 13, they ran GT3 cars on the short tracks, like USA and 5. Yeah, it was that week 13 thing. Like
I'm a little scared to see the GT3s through the tunnel turn it. Oh boy. Because I mean, those cars are already fragile enough. All right, so last facts recap here, real quickly. Let's go back to Mazda, and let's go back to IMSA. I mentioned Mazda here just now. That's going to be the best race to watch this week in Daytona Speed Weeks for the road cars.
Facts, no question.
Facts.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean,
you ever those guys? They're like, we always talk about how crazy you have to be to put a helmet on every week and do what some of these guys do, especially like the F1 guys, stuff, IndyCar guys, stuff like that. Those guys are pretty insane for what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Mazda
if you have never watched a Mazda Miata race at Daytona, take an hour out of your day, go to YouTube. And what was the one that they finished 5 wide at? Was that 2 years ago, Sam?
Something like that.
I think it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
No,
watch the. Was it
Daytona Mazda
21?
is the closest thing to an online race in real life. Like they act like their life doesn't matter in those races.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there is no brain power being had in that 45-minute race.
It's the one 45-minute race that if we ever had to get a hold of our buddy Austin, he would not be available.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, if you had, like, if that race was going on and you had to call one person to pick up the phone or you died, and you tried to call Austin during that race, you were dying 100 times out of 100 times.
Yeah. I would say the Mazda race is going to be the best one. The second best, I think, maybe Michelin Pilot because of the way those cars draft off each other. I think they'll put on a good show, and then of course the big show itself. And I'm not saying that the big show is not going to be good. I'm just saying that just for the way the racing is and the finish. I mean, hell, the 24-hour race last year had a photo finish, if I remember correctly, for a class. So
yeah, it did. The LMP2s.
Right. So, and I think the season before, when GT3 or GTD, sorry.
Something like that, yeah. It was one of the lower classes. But isn't that, like, can we just appreciate that for a moment, though?
Oh, absolutely.
Of, like, 24 straight hours of racing, multiple different drivers, skill sets, pit stops, everything, breakdowns, everything. And after 24 hours, you can have a race that was decided by less than a second? Less than half a second?
Was it a couple years ago? I mean, hell, 10 years ago, we'll say. There weren't even cars finishing on the same lead lap as other cars in GTPs, or at the time was, whatever, the prototypes and then GTDs and stuff like that. I mean, people were winning by
cars or whatever it was.
People were winning by laps. So here in the last decade, with BOP and stuff like that coming into play, it is made the shows really good. And this is where, again, I probably am going to get beaten up by somebody verbally for saying this, but I will watch IMSA all day over the endurance series over the pond.
Yeah, I will. And IMSA is very, very enjoyable to watch, especially once you can get into it and learn all the drivers and the teams and what the cars look like and everything like that. Because as a first-time person watching IMSA, it's hard to follow it.
It can be, because they do move around. And there's a whole lot of things going on.
And all the cars looks like the LMP, the DPI cars, the GTP cars, the DPIs, LMP2s. They look very similar. It's almost they run almost the same body, same chassis.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention the first race is a 24-hour race, so you might as well just turn the TV on, go clean the house or whatever you like to do.
Yep.
And then when you do that, you're multitasking, so you're losing track of what's going on. So it's a whole bunch of things that make it hard to keep up, but enjoy it. Go sit back and enjoy the race this weekend. I think it's at 1:30 on Fox NBC. Apparently Fox still covers them 10 years after they've lost them.
It's on like,
it's like 3 or 4.
Like if you look at the TV schedule, it's like there's part 4 here, part 3 here, part 6 here. It's all over the place to watch.
So how do you fix that? You just turn on Peacock, and it doesn't change.
Or no, I think it's not on Peacock the entire time, is it? I thought it was only
usually it is.
I thought IMSA TV was the one that had it the whole time.
Maybe it's them. I don't know. But you got different options. I mean, if you want to
do your research, do your due diligence, figure it out. Let us know, because we don't know at this point. So,
yeah. Well, I just look it up online real quick and have it. Or you just get to NBC at 1:30 and just listen when it comes to the end of the hour, and they say switch over to so and so channel at that moment.
Yeah, just set an alarm for every 58 minutes to run back to your TV.
Fireworks are always at 10 o'clock, which I always have nostalgia in my head at that time, because when the coverage was on Fox, does anybody remember what used to come on every year after they went off the air on Fox or FS1?
I didn't. I'll be honest. I've only started watching it in the last few years.
It was the old Toyota Showdown race at Irwindale, where they would bring all the K&N cars. They would bring late models, and they would do like special 125, 150 lap races of like all the best drivers of like the K&Ns and stuff like that together. And they would call it the Toyota Irwindale Showdown. It was always on FS1 after they went off the air. Such a fun race to watch, because you had those cars running from the bottom to the top of a progressive bank track, and there was some drama, needless to say. And I think there was like money on the line too if you won those races. So I missed that race. Anyways, all right, Sammy B. I don't know how long we've been recording, so did you enjoy your time here?
Absolutely, I did. I loved our old show a lot.
It was fun.
It was just hard to keep up with, which is a recurring theme for a lot of things I've had to do recently. But no, the second you mentioned you were doing a show and you wanted to kind of revamp a lot of your stuff, you always did so much for us. back in the, still for GSLR, but especially in the early days, the quality that you delivered for the, from day one. So that was why I wanted to give you as much help in the logo department. And, we did the cool, Captain Esports logo. And then I was started messing with motion graphics. So I'm always had fun with it. So
He's
I wanted to.
The first thing I've noticed is 10 seasons later, he still can't get GLSR right.
Did I say GSLR again?
You definitely did. Just now.
I wasn't gonna say it, but
I'm gonna call him out on it. But
it's a classic. GLSR.
Great Sim Lakes Racing. So the second thing, every graphic you're seeing on the broadcast now, from the turn it up to the logos, like you said, the Skala cast logos, the intro, by the way, tonight. Yeah, that's new, by the way. Sam did that for me last week. Yeah, everything is pretty much Sam. So shout out to him for what you've done. And I was like, man, you know what? Let's get Sammy B on here for episode 3 and just bring him on with us the whole entire show and have fun. So, and we'll do it more.
Yeah, no, I definitely plan to crash more often. So it's
don't do that. Time. You did enough in the race car.
I think I got better. I will say I still crash a lot, but you've seen my progression in my career. I think I don't crash nearly as much as I used to.
I don't know. You handed me your truck a couple seasons ago, and I didn't do any better. So,
yeah, it's all right.
Must be the truck. Shout out to Black Horizon, by the way. Guess what? I live closer to them now, so maybe I ought to take a trip up there one day. So,
I was about to say you're not that far now.
Not anymore. But Telder, what you got this week?
I'm gonna be honest, I was zoned out and working on my Twitch channel.
Well, let's put it like, oh geez, he's still working on it. I will say this: the IMSA series this week is at the Nürburgring combined long, whatever that G word is.
Gemstrecke?
Yeah, that one. They're there this week, so I'm debating. Because I was sitting there in my head today, I was like, it's a 35-minute race.
I'll do it. I'll do it with you.
Lap times in a GT3 are probably somewhere in the 10 minutes? 8 to 10 minute range?
8 minutes.
All right, so a 35 lap a minute race at 8 minutes a lap, that comes out to roughly 4.5 laps.
I think it's 5 is what it ended out.
So
because me and Daniels have run it multiple times before.
Where I'm going with this is the chances of a GTP car catching me to put me a lap down. Probably not
GTPs will probably only run like mid 7s, to be honest.
So
I think the fast guys in GT3 are going to run like low 8s, maybe high 7s.
So my point to this is I'm going to start the race. I'm going to put it in like third gear and just drive. Let everybody wreck out. I'll take the finish I have. Don't have to worry about getting ran over by the GTPs behind me. I raise my rating up.
I mean, don't quote me on that. They may catch you lap 5.
They might catch me, and at that case, I'll hide somewhere or something. I don't know.
Just pull off to the side and stop for a minute.
Come on.
Just go sit on the outside of the carousel turn.
Don't hit me, please. Don't hit. Oh, there's the one guy that hit me. No, and then the what's the other series we were running? The sprint and endurance. Those guys are at Suzuka.
Yeah, I believe me, Dean, and potentially Miles, depending on how he's feeling, are going to run 6 hours at the 6 hour Sebring team race this weekend.
Thanks for the offer.
I said what I said. It was pre-discussed.
In fairness, what car is this?
We're running the Cadillac.
So you're going to try to run this again. You're going to run the Cadillac over Sunset Bend in a GTP.
There's a reason I didn't ask you. All right,
that's fair. I do my best Jimmy Johnson impersonation qualifying a couple seasons ago. It's running a GTP. I just totally pictured the Price is Right game Plinko when you take a GTP through Sunset Bend. You don't know which bump you're going to hit, where it's going to bounce you to, and you hopefully get to the front straightaway.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
It is. course, Sebring's coming in March, the actual race, which could be the first race we get rain on too.
I hope so. I really want to do that race.
You got the computer that can do it?
I don't think so, honestly. This thing is my computer's been having a lot of problems recently, so we'll see. But I want to try it, but I don't think it's going to go well.
Telder, is that a hosted or is that an actual VRS Endurance?
It's the VRS Endurance one.
Nice. All right. So yeah,
no, it's the other one. It's not VRS Endurance. It is Global Endurance Tour. The 6-hour races. They only run every 2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks, right? Okay. Yeah, that Sebring's fun. So I know Dean has said he likes that track a lot. So
yeah, that's why
Miles go run laps. That track ain't easy. So
yeah, he said he'd let us know, but I mean, it's only a 6 hours, so it's 2-3 hours each. That's nothing,
I'm saying that's not an easy track because I mean, you got to remember turn one's a blinder and it narrows up because you go from the airport runway to the regular road, and then, there's not an easy corner really on that track.
Yeah, because I know Dean, prior to the whole Daytona 24, Dean had mentioned wanting to, start driving the Cadillac, stuff like that, and I was like, well, let's do the 12-hour at Sebring together then, for sure.
I will say
we're gonna use this as a team or as a tune-up for that race.
Bonder. Nice. I will say this: that Cadillac is mean sounding. For those who've never driven, that thing's got the Corvette motor in it, the hybrid. It's mean, definitely mean. So
looking at the schedule for this week, late models are at 5 Flags, so we know where I'm going to spend.
We know where Telder's going to be.
We know where I'm going to spend half my week. Outside of that, I mean, there's. Oh my, the super late models are also at 5 Flags this week.
Telder's bringing the short track program out, boys.
So I'm going to be down in Pensacola. Oh,
you'll be in Florida all week.
Hold on. Time out. Wait, I will be in Florida because the C-Class Truck Series fixed and open set are at Myrtle Beach for officials.
So you're going to be on the southeast coast.
We are going to have a jolly good time this week.
So it's a lot of short track racing, which is right up Telder's alley, which is either going to lead to an iRating boost or an iRating tanking because he'll be involved in wrecks, one of the two.
Oh, we're going to go up 300 iRating this week.
I like the prediction there. Very cool. So quick facts recap. Telder wins 3 races this week.
I'm at 3,043 on Oval right now. So we will test this theory next week.
So facts or caps, there are 3 wins this week, at least.
Cap.
I don't think I'll win 3.
He get 2, but I ain't gonna say 3.
I'll get 1. I bet I get 1 this week.
Miles, you sure you're ready for Sebring?
Who?
You.
Oh no, I don't know. We'll see.
That's right. Get some laps. It's not easy, but I mean it's a fun track, but it ain't easy. And there ain't no lights.
Ooh, the 87 cars are at Bristol this week too.
Oh, now we're talking.
Now, Cap, you didn't say anything when I mentioned my idea of doing the crew chief driver podcast idea, and I thought since you enjoyed crew chiefing me at Homestead, I didn't know if you liked the idea of me doing Daytona.
Hey, you forgot the race. I almost got you a victory at Canadian Tire, by the way, too.
We have a lot to still catch up on that. I feel like you're going to have me on another time because we didn't even touch on anything with the history of GSLR or just whatever. So, but there'll be plenty of other shows.
Yeah, we'll do as part 2 with Sammy because we got to get to know how Sammy got in iRacing and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's we're definitely going to do that.
Which Formula One track do you wish to return to the schedule?
Return to the schedule. Magello. It was beautiful. I'm sad that that 2020 calendar was so good. Looking back,
the COVID 2020 calendar was excellent. Outside of they didn't race at Singapore because that's my favorite circuit.
So I'll end on that. But yeah, you're just going to have me on again because there's still a lot under the surface. I was raised to dish a lot of GSLR history and drama, but I'm going to have to keep that tucked away for next time.
We were supposed to keep show notes short for this, so we could let you just go. And Skala added way too much stuff. So
yeah, I did, and of course, my preparedness is off the wall right now, in case you can't tell. So I'm doing great. Got some a little bit of work to do on my end.
Hey, we
What about
keep
you,
him,
Skala?
keep him excited, keep him for next. It's like Dragon Ball Z where he's powering up for like 5 episodes. It's like that. Like, and next week, Sammy B will explain that time that he really wanted to kick Telder out of the league,
I know
and
it's
then we
time.
just never bring it back up.
It is time to wrap the show up when we start getting into anime talk.
Yes.
What about you, Skala? Formula One track you'd like to add back
gosh.
to the calendar?
It's funny. Just because, and they did this, I think, in the 2020 season, but it was always one of my favorite tracks to run on the old F1 PlayStation game. Of course, there was the old Hockenheim, which had the forest on it. The other one was Magna Course.
Okay.
I loved Magna Course for some reason on the F1 game. It was a small track, had that chicane that went right up to the front straightaway there, and I guess off the top of my head, that would be that one. Yeah, I guess that would be probably my answer off the top of my head here. F1 is at Aragon, by the way, this week. And maybe we should.
I did say that.
Should we dare Clark to run Spa the following week in an F1 car?
Yes, absolutely. Stream it.
I don't think he owns it, and he won't.
I'll buy him the car.
I'll race it with him.
Get
it. We'll buy it for him, and I'll do it with him.
We'll all race together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I like that.
We'll just do a hosted official race.
1 lap. Who survives?
Oh, I've ran the F1 car at Spa before. It's a fucking blast, but because me and Daniels had a little bit of time in the F1 car in officials when they came out.
Well, we're gonna let Sam run. He's got baby duty to go take care of.
Yes, I hit my time limit, but I appreciate you guys having me on. And I love
the track I want will not make it back to the calendar ever again. So
Nürburgring,
Valencia.
Yeah,
that's an abandoned dump.
And it's still there. The track is still there. Just part of it's underwater now, but it is still there. All the curbing is still there. The DHL signs are still there. So
interesting. So now we're down to 2 of us to wrap up the show because Miles had to go run OP.
I was supposed to race tonight, but I already took a provisional for tonight because it was street stocks at Martinsville, not something I feel like participating in.
That could be a beatdown.
So, I wasn't gonna. We weren't going to follow that. So
the 2 things that I've learned for this broadcast, because I try to learn something each week, is 1, show prep, a little bit more, and 2, I need a producer.
We're not that big yet.
No, and I don't know if we'll ever get that big. We'll try.
Well, guess who's producing the show then?
Lucy. Anyways, so all right. Now, I think we've covered everything for this week. Go enjoy the whatever there is to do this week, and because there's no big race anymore to run, so it's like I guess
there's really nothing. There's really nothing much else aside of normal officials or league stuff to really do this week. So
I guess I'll go run Suzuka and learn the Nürburgring maybe.
Yeah, I got this week really is Wednesday night I might run the mod league, and Thursday I have my bowling league. So outside of that,
there you go. And we got
not
of
much
course
to do this week. So
TI tomorrow night, GLSR Wednesday.
Oh, where are we at in TI tomorrow night?
Nashville Super Speedway.
Ooh, concrete and Gen 4.
Yeah, right. Should be fun.
Slippy.
A little slickery, right? With pit stops.
Yeah.
And then GLSR
multiple pit stops.
Not wrong. Wednesday Homestead GLSR. Thursday nothing. Friday going to be the All-American preseason race at Daytona, and then Sunday back at Vegas for the Sim 500.
Is that ARC or is that Gen 4?
Gen 4.
Why am I not part of that yet?
I don't know. I mean, ask Casey.
Send me a link, or tell Casey to just send me a link or whatever for that.
Okay, I will.
I'll race All-American.
Don't get yourself banned because you're on a roll there.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
I bet.
I went from getting kicked out to having admin privileges. We're on a fucking roll right now.
That's so true right now. Man.
No, I try to change most of my stuff.
It's all good. You know how to be an adult. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. Yeah.
You want to go tell my mom that because she hasn't figured that out yet.
Yours too? All right. I'm pretty sure we've lost every download now. So we're gonna go and Wait a minute. The Solstice right now is at the Nürburgring Nordschleife.
Do you need to stop looking at official races?
I'm looking at these right now. I'm going bananas over here. Or is this next week? Wait, today's Monday, isn't it? That we record this. So these have actually changed.
Oh God, Arca's at Concord. If you want to be
the Scuba, look out! There's a go-kart race.
If you want to see the equivalent of Miatas at Daytona, go race Arca at Concord. The same fucking results happen.
Pretty much. I mean, well, that track's almost impossible to pass on.
No, it's not.
Well, I mean, there's ways. I mean, might make somebody mad.
You just wait for somebody to kill the wall off of turn 1.
The IR01's at Auto Club?
To death in a minute.
The IndyCar Series at Zandvoort.
So, yeah, we got there's pretty solid weeks of official races for once. It's
a lot of iRacing loss definitely this week. GR86 is at Charlotte. There you go. Put them on the roll now. Good idea. Ooh, Mazda MX-5 at Oulton Park. The only track I've never been able to complete a lap at outside the Nürburgring. All right, we're leaving now. We're done before we get ran out of here. So, what's that quote again?
It's not just a podcast. It's ScalaCast.
Might be a dead cast after this. Thanks, Miles. Thanks, Sean. Sam, whatever your name is. I just called him Sean. That happened.
You better go apologize to that man right now.
I apologize to both of you and to Starvin Pygmies. Anyways, we're out. Enjoy the rest of your week. See ya.
We out.
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.